Story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy specializes in a customized designed academic approach tailored to meet the needs of our families. Our lower division prepares students with the necessary foundation to build excellence. Our middle division provides students with over 15 course offerings, providing them with opportunities to explore their talents and gifts. Our upper division provides personalized academic journeys, allowing them to achieve their dreams. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us, where every path leads to purpose.
National headlines and the local stories you care about. WLBB, Carrollton, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3.
All right, it's 8:30. Welcome to the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. We are streaming live online at newstalk1330.com this morning. My name is Colin Worthington. We're also on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. You can see my handsome young guest, and I'll introduce you here to him in just a second. As we celebrate 200 years of Carroll County, I knew this was coming up over the last 3 or 4 months. I was hoping to bring in some iconic people, the history, maybe iconic stories. Talk about iconic buildings and iconic locations in Carroll County, and just make whole half-hour shows out of them. Today, I want to talk about the C.M. Tanner Grocery Building. That's on Maple Street in Carrollton. It's a beautiful old brick building right beside the train tracks. An old-school Coca-Cola logo is painted on the side right beside the loading dock. And I think everybody's had a chance to just sit there and gaze in awe when they're driving on Maple Street and the train comes. Just one cart sometimes just wants to park right in the middle and backs up traffic, but you get to see that building. We're going to talk about the history of that building and the business. It's a grocery going back to 1893. We'll also discuss a few other significant places because the Tanner name is attached to this building. We'll do that on this morning's Community Voice program with my guest, C.M. Tanner Groceries General Manager and President John Tanner III. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good to see you again, and thank you for being so willing to talk about this.
Absolutely.
I know you you did kind of do a presentation of your family history recently with one of the Kiwanis or Rotary or something like that, and I guess subconsciously I must have just seen that like at 3 o'clock in the morning. Because when I called you, I thought I was like, this big coup. Like I just said, all right, yeah, Johnny Tanner would be a good guest. No. But yeah, apparently you had talked to him like a week earlier. But again, thank you for coming out.
You're welcome.
Let's dive right into it.
Yes,
we will talk about the business and, of
Sure.
course, that building. But again, like I said, the Tanner name, people will recognize it for several things here locally, and maybe just didn't know the connection and who who they were named after. But like I said, I know you recently worked on your ancestry and traced back some generations. So let's jump back into it, or dive right into it, and then we'll figure out how it's connected to the grocery and, of course, Tanner Hospital and Tanner Lake.
Okay. Well, first of all, the business might be iconic, but I am not iconic.
Whatever.
So a lot of people don't know this, but C.M. Tanner's family came from Bethlehem, Georgia, and his father, William S. Tanner, came to Carrollton in, I think, the late 1830s, and he was one of the first physicians in Carroll County.
And did you know that initially?
No. I just recently found out. Doug Mabry, who is a kind of a county historian, has done a lot of research for us, and his last name's Mabry, and CM actually stands for Charles Mabry, and he said, I don't do genealogy, but since we're branch kin, I will do the genealogy for you, and he has. So William S. Tanner has a pretty incredible history in Carroll County as well, because he was instrumental in helping the railroad get to Carrollton. He was in the early stages, so he was he served on the board of the Savannah Griffin North Alabama Railroad, and he died in 1868, so he didn't get to see it come to Carroll County, but he was instrumental in getting it here. He came to Carrollton, like I say, in the 1830s, married a girl named Lydia Mabry in 1844, and they had 6 children. His oldest son was James G. Tanner. And believe it or not, his second or third son was William S. Jr. Not sure about that. It's different today than what you normally see. And then C.M. Tanner was the baby, who was actually 20 years younger than James G. And so James started actually the Tanners in the grocery business in 1872. And there's an article in the paper that Doug Mabry found that he started the grocery business in 1872 with his father-in-law, Blaylock. And believe it or not, the first grocery business that they had was where the Irish Bread Pub is now. They stayed there a year, and then they moved over to where Merle Norman's is now, and they named it a fancy grocery. So by fancy, they sold things like Cuban cigars, fresh lemonade, ice cream, and had the very first soda fountain in town. And they had ads weekly saying that they had the meal was made at Hayes Mill, fresh, every single week for them. So that's the first I've heard of anything about Hayes Mill, and not sure exactly.
We're going to get that story, yeah.
We need to find that as well. Yes, sir. And so C.M. Tanner, in his teenage, started working for James, his oldest brother, at the fancy grocery, and learned the business and became a partner with his older brother, James. And then he went to work for a company that was based out of Anniston, but they had a warehouse on Maple Street, where the Maple Street parking lot is across the railroad tracks from where we are now. And he started C.M. Tanner Grocery Company there, and he outgrew it quickly. But he knew Mr. Mandeville, who owned, if anybody knows the Maple Street mansion, that's L.C. Mandeville. He owned hundreds of acres from Maple Street all the way down Lovern Road, and if you go, the Mandeville Mill's still there, and all the mill homes, the mill villages are down there, and he owned all that land. And so he was on that board for 25 years.
He had the first working toilets in Carrollton, too, I think.
No, I didn't know that.
Maybe inside working toilets, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So Mr. Mandeville sold him a strip of land there across the railroad tracks where we are now, and mainly because that's where all the rail came, and that's where most of the products came. And I think early on they picked their product up from the train depot, which was just down the way. And then later on, CM put a couple of spurs, or maybe John Sr. put some spurs there that go up. If you drive by the grocery now, you'll see 3 or 4 spurs that where we unloaded. When I was a kid, we unloaded a lot of our stuff from the rail cars.
And so you guys said that they actually could stop right there. I mean, did they block traffic then?
No. Oh, well, they probably did, but they would drop the car off.
Oh, okay, yeah, take off, yeah.
And I remember the dock was a lot higher, or the train car was a lot higher than the dock. And, man, my dad would say, Johnny, the salt car is out there, and if anybody's ever lifted a 50-pound salt block in the farm, there would be 2,000 or 3,000 of those on a truck, on a car, and you had to unload them all by hand, and you can imagine how that was.
And there wasn't like a side swim; you had to go over the top and get them.
You had to go get them. No, they had a door on them.
Okay.
You had to roll the hand truck in there, load them up. It would hold our hand trucks were wooden, and they would hold 12 salt blocks. And then you would come down and you would have to stack them. Not sure if kids today or employees today would do that, but we didn't have a choice. He'd say, you got today to get them out, or otherwise they start charging us.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
But was that delivery for everything? I mean, you just mentioned salt blocks. I mean, it was all the groceries, everything came that way?
Well, I remember the California fruit car would come once or twice a year, and it would come to the first dock closest to Maple Street. And then the sugar car would come 2 or 3 times a year, and it would come to the second dock. And then the salt car would come to the third dock. So yeah, it was times were different back then. Let's see. So in 1908, Doug found an order for the Rome Brick Company for bricks that CM had purchased to build the new building, and he's got that invoice. So that's pretty cool. Where that brick came from, that's on the outside of the original building.
And the wedges on the corners, I mean, that's different, right? I mean, isn't it? Maybe I hope I'm picturing that right. I mean, they overlap, right? In the corners, don't the bricks overlap? It's not like it's a perfect indent.
I think they do, Colin. But if you'll look at the building, you'll notice the closest side to the railroad track has a new brick on it,
okay.
and it's cut out in a square. where the loading dock originally was. And if you look down, there's another one that was cut out, and then another one that was cut out. So I wished I had more. I wished I had pictures at all, but we don't. So obviously it was added on, because there were at least 3 loading docks right there facing Maple Street. They're all bricked in now, and I say new brick. The new brick's probably 100-something years old, but anyway.
And I don't want to throw you off too much, but you guys don't use that dock at all anymore?
No, sir.
No, but I mean, it's still good looking. I'd hate to see you move it away. I mean, it's still, just to look at it, just to get that historical importance.
I mean, you'll see guys taking a break out there from time to time, and I've had people in town say, "Hey, I want those guys a job like they got standing out there on that dock." But yes, but we don't use it anymore. No, sir.
And how about the Coca-Cola sign? Has that been, I guess, an image of the Coca-Cola paintings? They've been there for 100 years?
It's been there a long time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how long. I've always tried to update it every few years,
Yeah,
and I'm
it's
not
clean.
sure. It probably needs to be redone. So anyway, C.M. Tanner started the company there. He ran it till 1933, and then in 1933, my grandfather John Tanner Sr. started running it, and he ran it from 1933 to 1958 when my father got out of the Air Force. And then in 1958, my father took over, and he ran it till 1988.
And when you were 18 years old, you took it over.
Well, I wasn't 18, but I was in my mid-20s when I took it over. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Since 1988. So, it's pretty near 30 years, huh?
Been a long time. Been a long time, but I enjoy it. So,
and again, I don't want to interrupt you too much, but an independent grocery to last that long and to still to be around in 2026, it's pretty impressive. How do you talk about that? How did that work?
Well, I really feel like at one time there were several hundred small wholesalers like ourselves in the state of Georgia. Very few now, and I think one of the reasons we've stayed in business is because we were willing to change our focus. Because back in the 20s and 30s, it was all like mercantile, and that's what it was. And then maybe in the 50s, 60s, it was a lot of retail for the mom and pop stores that were everywhere.
You count yourself as a mom and pop store?
No,
it's a
mom
small
and pop
business. Yeah.
Grocery stores is what because we're a wholesaler. We're the middleman. That's why you don't see us advertising, because we're the middleman, and we sell people who resell in a lot of instances. Although we are open to the public if people want to buy in bulk. So yes, but yes, we've just had to change our focus. And 30 years ago we sold cigarettes and tobacco, and we don't. We used to sell ammunition because we were the Remington dealer starting in 1961.
We during COVID, I think Steve bought all his hand lotions and stuff in bulk from you guys, and I think we still have one on my desk over there that we got from you guys.
That was a big seller back then, and before we never even sold hand sanitizer. Yeah. So,
well, because they were running out every place else, and so they had to look elsewhere, and I had to buy the 50 at a time or whatever.
Yes, sir. It was just a different time. Thank goodness that one's come and gone.
Absolutely. Yeah, and obviously glad to see that you guys are still up and running. As far as, your last time in 30 years, how much has it changed, do you think?
It's changed a lot. I've had to make changes. One of the toughest changes is the workforce is different than it was 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. Just different.
And you've got 20 employees.
Yes, sir. I do.
That's still a pretty big deal too. And your website, I was looking at that this morning. Fabulous website. Plus, it shows pictures of your basement, which is sharp, and I can't wait to take a tour of that.
Yes, sir.
And you said your kid put together that website, right?
My son built that website. Yes, he did. And my daughter helped him take pictures, and so most everything's got a picture on what we have.
Yeah, right. You've got all of your inventory in one little section that says items, and it's not like 5 things. It's there's 50 different categories you can go there, and like I was telling you this morning, I was looking at the cheese. So you got a nice selection of cheeses.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we're going to take our first break.
Okay.
The Tanner name, again, everybody's heard that. Everybody who's in this community, West Georgia, East Alabama, knows that last name, knows that name. So we'll talk about the hospital a little bit, the Tanner connection to the hospitals. Okay. And then, of course, at some point during the show, we'll talk about Tanner Lake. And it wasn't always Tanner Lake. It's Tanner County Lake now.
Right.
It was Tanner State Lake or State
Correct.
Park before that, and before that it had a different name.
Yes,
and
sir.
we'll, but still the same guy got it all started, and there's some cool stories associated with him, and we'll do all
Yes,
that
sir.
after we take our first break. Time right now is 8:44. If you'd like to share a comment with Johnny this morning or a question maybe you didn't think we touched on, feel free to post that on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page, and I'll look at that during this break, I promise. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health and Oak Mountain Academy.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy is a vibrant community built on innovation, academic excellence, and a 64-year legacy of shaping community leaders. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, inviting you to visit the mountain and experience firsthand the passion, purpose, and personalized education that defines our school. Come see how our mission and vision come to life each day. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
All right, welcome back to the Community Voice here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. My name is Colin Worthington. My guest this morning is Johnny Tanner. He is the, for 30 years, the whole 30 years you've been the president, and
88, 90.
part near 30 years is what we're saying
probably
here.
37 years.
General Manager and President John Tanner III, he of the CM Tanner Grocery. He's head that up. That iconic building. I don't think we can say otherwise. It's just a beautiful building. Everybody has seen it. Just passing through Maple Street. It sticks out. It's a great structure and a great business. It's been around since at least that, and not in that location. In that location since 1872, right?
The location 1872 was where the Irish Bread Pub
Oh, I
was,
gotcha.
and
Okay.
then in 1893 is where it is right now, or across the railroad tracks when we started.
Okay. And that building's been remodeled, though, right? That wasn't the original building, 1873. Was there a fire or something?
No, sir. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. I just know it was at the Irish Bread Pub, and then after a year they moved to where Merle Norman's was on
yeah.
the corner there of Noonan Street. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, if we did talk a lot about that location during the first segment, so if you missed any of it, you can go back and listen to that, newstalk1330.com and the Newstalk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. And, of course, we alluded to the Tanner name, which is, I figure, well, we say it every day on this radio station. We say Tanner. We talk about the hospital, how that came about, if you want to start going that direction. Because that's your family, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So C.M. Tanner was, I wished I'd have known him, but he died in 1953. But I just have a listing of some business and boards that he was on back to 1898. He was on the Carrollton Oil Mills, the Mandeville Mills, Carrollton Hardware in 1904, CWC Medical Company 1904, Director of the Citizens Bank 1906, Western Insurance Company of Georgia 1907. He was on the Carrollton Board of Education, which I never knew. North Georgia Underwriters Insurance 1909. He was the Director of the First National Bank in 1909. He became an area sales agent for the EMF Automobile Company and later became Stubaker. Did not know that either. He was on the executive committee of the Bankhead Highway Association, which I guess was just dirt country back then, more than likely. And then he was a director of the Gainsborough Telephone and Telegraph Company. And then he was on the building committee for the newly built Carrollton First Methodist Church, where it is right now in 1904.
That's a resume like J. Gill Jr., pretty much.
Wow.
Do you know Jay?
I do. I know Jay Gill Jr. I sure do.
I
Know
did.
Jay.
You mentioned those banks. I was just thinking about him being
Yes,
a vice president back in the day.
Yes,
but
sir.
I mean, that would had to have been pretty close to every business in the area at the time. You think for him to be involved in?
I don't know how he had that much time to do that because he had 7 children. Anyway, he did, and then I'll go back to William S. His father is buried right there on the corner of Alabama Street and Highway 27, about 2 graves north. And he was instrumental in helping start the First Methodist Church in Carrollton, where Moore's Chapel is now. And then CM became on the building committee in 1904 to move it to where it is now. So that was,
You said it's his dad, that grave, the very clean gravestone.
yes, sir.
And you're going to see it when you're like right at that corner. I guess if the new development on the right, you're sitting there at the stoplight.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for traffic. You're going to see that. I mean,
It's about 3 graves up, and it's a really tall monument. It says W.S. Tanner. He's buried there with his wife, Lydia, and I think 2 of his children are buried in there. It's a wrought iron fence, and we just had it redone. So,
And I'm sure people have looked at it and just wondered, is that Tanner related to the hospital?
well, so
or
did
the
I
lake?
until
Yeah.
20 years ago, and C.M. Tanner III called me and said, "Hey, do you know where William S. Tanner came from?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know who William S. Tanner is, but let's go see." Anyway, Doug Mabry has been a very big help in finding this information for us.
So how did we get to the hospital? How did that happen? And it's not the hospital that we have now, right?
Right. So in 1943, he decided he wanted to help start a hospital, and from what I understand, he put up some money and said if the city or county would match it, then we could start the hospital. And so they originally named it the Lydia and Mamie Tanner Memorial Hospital. Lydia was his mother, Mamie was his wife, and then it got changed to Tanner Memorial later on in life, and then now Tanner Medical Center. So, yes, sir.
And you learned recently why. I mean, you told me initially you didn't know why he even invested in a hospital. Right?
Nobody ever talked about it when I was growing up, and I don't know that they knew that his daddy, his father, W.S. Tanner, was one of the first physicians in Carroll County. So, yes, that answers the question now. We didn't know why. Now we know.
Johnny Tanner, my guest on this morning's Community Voice program. We were, looking back at 200 years of Carroll County, and so trying to put together shows throughout this year of, iconic individuals and iconic locations and maybe events. Trying to do something every week during the Community Voice program for the rest of this year. And I think Carroll County has some events planned. I believe there's a big music celebration coming up in April, and maybe the Quilt Museum has something that's going to start in February, but maybe the county will have a different concert or something, some sort of celebration throughout the year. And like I say, hopefully we can bring attention to some stories and iconic individuals and answer a lot of questions, because we see a lot of names attached to things in the community, and I haven't been here my whole life, so I've been curious about some of those too. But I'm sure people maybe been here 5 years, and people have been here all their life may not know, may have even forgotten about those names. So hopefully we'll be able to touch on a lot of that stuff this year. We'll take our final break here and come back and wrap up our conversation with Johnny. Want to talk about Tanner Park, the Tanner Lake. Is it Tanner? Was Tanner State Park at one point? Now it's Tanner County Park. And we'll talk about the origins of that as well. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health and Oak Mountain Academy.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Do the math. At Oak Mountain Academy, our average graduating class has just 12 students. We celebrate a 100% graduation rate with more than $10.5 million in college scholarships offered. Plus, 96% of our students are accepted into their top choice college. Do the math. Can you see the value of an OMA education? I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, and I'm here to help you do the math. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
All right, 8:53. Welcome back to the Community Voice. My name's Colin Worthington. My guest this morning is Johnny Tanner. Started the program talking out about C.M. Tanner's Grocery and the history, and talked about the iconic structure that houses that business right now. Talked a little bit about the history of Tanner Hospital, and now we're going to talk about Tanner County Park, which started out with a different name. But there's a preface to that. To the beach being developed and being built, that you think you found something from several years back that may have been kind of an inspiration for that.
Yeah, so there was an article in I guess it was Times Georgia in like 1910, where C.M. Tanner and several of his buddies and their families decided they were going to go to Florida in 1910 in their cars. There were no easy roads back then, I'm sure, and there was about a 3 or 4 part article series, because it wasn't go in one day and come back.
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal, and about how they went through all these poor towns and broke down and flat tires and got stuck in the swamp. There's just a lot of that, but they made it all the way to Jacksonville, Florida, and then came back, and I just think he fell in love with Florida then. And I think my grandfather, John Tanner Sr., was in the car with him along with his wife. And so my grandfather, John Tanner Sr., got the idea that, hey, in the 50s, we need a place for people to go that can't go to Florida. And so he started, he bought some property out in the Mount Zion area, and he named his park the beach at Lakeview. And his slogan was "A Little Florida in Georgia." And even back then, he would have the Cypress Garden skiers come and do shows and stuff like that on the lake. And I think at the time, it was the largest man-made beach in Georgia. I had heard that it was 400 rail cars of sand brought up from Florida. I don't know, and I guess they were unloaded at the Bowden-Dugan Railroad. Who knows? But anyway, and then it was Beach at Lakeview, and then he changed it to Tanner's Beach in probably the mid to late 50s, and I'm sure older folks or folks my age would remember going to Tanner's Beach as a kid. And then...
Do you know how it became a state park?
Yeah, so in the late 60s, early 70s, he was getting ready to retire, and he just... He called the state and asked them would they be interested in the property, and after 2 or 3 years, they knew he was ready to give up or just retire, and so he basically gave the property to the state, and they named it John Tanner State Park, and it was the state park from 1971 till the county took it over, and Bill Chappell was instrumental in getting the county.
How'd that happen with Bill? I mean, I think the state. We just feel like they were neglecting it. And
it was back during tough times, and he called me one day, and if anybody knew Bill, he was just kind of dry, and he said, "Johnny, they fixing to close a bunch of parks in Carroll and in Georgia, and Tanner's is one of them. I'd like to buy that property if we can for the county or deed it." And so the state deeded the property to Carroll County, and I'm telling you, our county has really turned that thing around. It looks beautiful. If you hadn't been out there lately, they've put new sand on, done a lot of good things to the park.
Does Ben Skipper overlook all that stuff?
No, it's not Ben anymore. It's Kent Johnston now, who used to be with the city. He overlooks that now.
Yeah, we are lucky. I mean, when you're just driving anywhere, I mean, you can't go anywhere without seeing your name. In this county. I mean, you ever just think about that? I mean, it's like you said, you didn't even know who some of the names were, up until recently.
As I say, those people are iconic. I'm not.
Well, I think people would say otherwise, John.
Yeah, okay.
And a Kiwanis member?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Anybody you want to give a big shout out to this morning? And Doug Mabry, is he still around? Because I haven't seen him in probably 10 years.
I have not talked to him in a couple of months, but yes, sir, I think he's still around.
Well, we've got to drag him on the show because he does know. I mean, we could do multiple shows with him, I think.
Absolutely. He's done a lot for this community.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, sir. You've done a lot for the community, too. And lifelong resident of Carroll County.
Yes, sir.
So I hope we can promote other gentlemen and ladies like yourself on the programs throughout this year. If you have a suggestion for something, again, 200 years of Carroll County. If you have a suggestion for a program, we'd love to put it on here in the morning sometime during the Community Voice sometime throughout the year. Send a suggestion to news@newstalk1330.com, and I'll look at that and try and set that up. We do have, somebody's recently given me a name of like 10 historians and locally and people who are connected to some things to reach out to. So we're going to do that over the next couple of months and bring them on the program. Johnny, thank you, sir.
Good. Absolutely.
Go out and if you hankering from some cheese today, go to the Tanner website. What is that website, Johnny?
It's cmtanner.com.
cmtanner.com. Great website. Pick up a bulk of cheese. You can never have too much cheese.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny, and thank you for watching and listening to this morning's Community Voice here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. Also on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. I believe Steve Graddick has a political, maybe a Senate candidate. I don't know. I think she's running for Marjorie Taylor Greene's old seat. So she'll be on Monday's Community Voice here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. Thanks to Joel for his video work and all his efforts this week, and thanks to Josh for pushing the buttons. And thank you for watching and listening. Have a great weekend.